Okay, let's take a look at this last exercise problem. That'll be at the end of today. So if you just glance through these three departments, the sales information, expenses, operating income, and assuming that all the fixed costs here are avoidable fixed costs, meaning if you drop the department, that cost disappears. It's not a cost that always stays there. It specifically relates to that department. So try to determine which departments will this company potentially need to drop, which ones they may consider to keep. Accessories has the red flag there, operating income 18,000. But if we look closer to costs, what else information can we get from it? First of all, contribution margin, right? Does it give a positive contribution margin? $8,000, right? However, this $8,000 is not able to cover fixed costs, $96,000. And what is the characteristics of these fixed costs? Does it remain there in the business, or does it disappear after dropping it? It disappears. So meaning that the total cost you're able to save after dropping that department would be how much? $26,000 of fixed cost, and then also variable costs, and you drop the department, right? So altogether, because this particular question tells you that a fixed cost is avoidable, meaning if you drop that department, that cost disappears, you add that with the total variable cost, so the total cost saving is exactly the department's total cost, $118,000, right? Now you compare against the revenue that you're losing after dropping that department is the exact sales revenue that you're generating, $100,000. So the cost you're saving is $118,000, and the revenue you're not getting, that you're giving up, is $100,000. So the cost saving exceeds the revenue, $18,000. You should decide to drop the department, because anyhow you're not getting. The revenue is not covering the cost. The cost is way too much. So if this question, if the fixed expenses is actually unavoidable, it's always there, then the question, the answer may not directly be dropping the product. You have to consider further. Because if the cost is actually unavoidable, then what you really need to determine is whether there's contribution margin or not. And for this problem, there actually is contribution margin, $8,000, right? So this means that even though the operating income is negative $18,000, if you're trying to boost the sales more, you're still able to cover the variable costs and fixed costs later on. You can't just exactly decide right now whether to drop it or not. It's not that definite. Okay, so if this fixed cost is not completely avoidable, for example, if all of them is unavoidable, you're just assigning these fixed costs to this department, you may decide to mix the products a little bit differently. For example, emphasize more on men's and women's, or try to make more marketing strategies on accessories department, because you still have a positive contribution margin, right? And the fixed cost, whether or not keeping or dropping the department, is always there. It's not avoidable. So this is a case that it is avoidable, so the total cost you're saving is $118,000. But if the fixed cost is unavoidable, the cost you're saving is just $92,000 if you drop the department. So you still have $8,000 differences between the sales and cost saving. It's still a plus, the contribution margin. Okay, so you can't just directly make the decision of dropping it. It's not that certain, because the fixed cost is avoidable, is unavoidable there.